Welcome to Marketing Coffee Hour. Our special guest today is Tina McNeil O'Brien. So today's topic is how to invite to network with special guest Tina McNeil O'Brien. So fancy. Look at Tina is a broker of the McNeil O'Brien Team Real Estate with over 24 years of real estate experience. She has been a member of BNI for over 14 years and a former area director, which means that she was in charge of clubs. Tina has a love for presentations and training and development. She is currently the president of Biz.Networks in Michigan and a member of BNI's Core Regions Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, doing some very important work. Something that not many people know about her is that she strives to live by the Platinum Rule. So I hope that she tells us what the Platinum Rule is during her presentation.
Platinum Rule is to treat others the way they want to be treated.
Oh, I love that. For the benefit of Tina, raise your hand if you belong to BNI. All right, now raise your hand if you are in some other networking organization. All right, so 100% of the people in the room network. So Tina, educate us.
Awesome.
Help us become better networkers.
Excellent. Well, here's the easiest part of anything in life. Is it really easy to get anyone to do anything that you'd really like them to do? Is it really easy to invite them to anything from a potluck to a dinner to anything that would push your business forward? Is that really an easy process? And the answer is really no. Is it easy to come out of your shell to get to that next level of inviting? And the answer usually is no. For some people, it's really easy. I know that from previous experience that Jeff is really a magnet of being able to do that. And sometimes even for seasoned professionals, we have to try different ways to get people to kind of have our way, right? And over time, I have developed what I like to call favor inviting. And I have developed a surefire way each and every time to do it. And it is called favor inviting and the art of reciprocity. And through that art of reciprocity, I have developed a couple of different systems, and one is a borrowed system, and the other is a acquired system and a fine-tuned system that is called SNP. And so I'm going to share my screen. Am I ready to share? Am I okay to do that? Alrighty, perfect. So I have a little presentation that is called SNP. So favor inviting is all about the art of reciprocity. And I don't know if you remember that once upon a time in the airport, you used to go in the airport and there used to be a group of individuals and they would hand you a flower and you'd grab the flower and give them a small donation for giving you the flower. Nowadays, you kind of get in the mail during the holiday seasons, and it has your name, it has your address, they're little stickers, and you kind of say, hey, it has all of my information on it. It's around time to send out your cards. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and use them for a small donation, $10, $15, $20, other has your information. You might use those to send them out. It is that art of reciprocity, that feeling of giving something to give something else. And it is that ability that you're getting something where it is kind of for nothing, but it is a little task. And that is what we ask people to do. And it is that favor or that power of the solid. There is a cartoon that's on Cartoon Network that is called The Regular Show, and it is a episode that is called The Power of the Solid. And it is where they're asking one another, like, hey, will you grab this for me? Do me a solid. And they break the power of the solid, and there's a whole curse behind if you do not do the power of the solid. So we have the ability, and we know that there is this art of reciprocity, that if you do something for someone else, it creates this unspoken ability that now I owe you this unspoken favor that I have to do it. And so it becomes, hey, will you do me a favor? Yes, I will, to do an act for someone else. And I use this in the inviting, especially in BNI. Hey, sometime this year, will you substitute for me when I go on vacation during this time? Hey, will you come in as a guest for me? So and so would like to meet you in the chapter. I think it would be very beneficial for your business. Yes, I will. All of these things you have the ability to do over and over. And to help your fellow man becomes a favor. So instead of having the invite be an art of desperation, it becomes the art of reciprocity to help another individual. So instead of a task for a task, we become the favor deliverer. I'm doing something for someone else. And so we had something happen in 2020 that took us out of the mold of this is all about me. It's about helping another individual, which was the pandemic. And in the pandemic, we all were in the house, and then we couldn't become face to face. And we realized that we still had to do business and we still had to make money. And how can we do that if some of our businesses were actually tangible? So how can we do that, increase our businesses without being able to touch and become face-to-face individuals? Now, I like to consider myself an energy amplifier. All of the energy that I receive, I have to bring in, and I want to push it back out and make it more powerful. I usually do that face to face. Well, I couldn't really do that face to face. We were facing things like shortages. And I realized that I really like to help people in the giver's gain philosophy. And how do I do that if I can't get out in the streets and press the flesh? Well, Snip is how I did it. And I started in my telephone at the very beginning, at the A's, and at the very bottom in the Z's. And I picked up the phone and I made these telephone calls starting at the beginning. And I'll use Candace as an example. I picked up the phone and I said, hey, Candace, how you doing? And this is people that I talk to every day and people that I didn't talk to in years. And I said, hey, Candace, are you safe? Are you secure? Are you keeping downwind of this craziness that we got going on?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Is there anything that you need in business or personally?
Yes.
Excellent. I had people who needed formula. I had people who needed business contacts. I had people who needed food. I had people who needed anything that they needed. I worked my network to get it done. So Candace was like, you know what? I need people to help my business. Okay, so tell me what you need. It's all confidential. It's just going to be between me and you. So Candace, tell me what you need.
I need people to present to my audience at Marketing Coffee Hour on Thursdays at 11 o'clock. Pick a Thursday.
Excellent. What about 2 Thursdays from now? What can I present for you?
Well, you know, I love it when I hear you train on Snip.
Excellent. I can do that for you. And that is how you get people to do it. A favor for a favor. We went back to the old ways of doing things. Don't stop networking, do it differently. So you can do that. If you need more people to show up at your chapter, ask for it. If you need more people to send out cards for birthdays, ask for it. If you need more people to write mortgages for first-time home buyers between the ages of 25 and 35, ask for it. If you need people to send food to your home, ask for it. I had people who were top producers who were not able to close because of the pandemic, who couldn't provide for their families. And I said, give me your address and I will have people show up for food. Are there any food allergies in your home? And I had people start delivering food to their houses. No questions asked. They would just drop off food at their house. And they did that for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then they call me after about 6 weeks and they're like, there are people still delivering food to our house. I'm like, well, you didn't tell me to stop. So I just kept reaching out to people and saying, hey, can you deliver bread? And can you deliver chicken? And can you deliver things to their house? I'm like, would you like me to stop? And they're like, oh, yeah, we're good now. I'm like, okay, great. Then I'll just take that off of my list of things to do. So it just became an outlet for me to keep busy, to keep helping individuals and to do things. The next is the I in SNP, is the invitation. Well, I'm going to invite you to my business meeting, or I'm going to invite myself to take place in your networking event, or I'm going to invite you to take place in my networking event, or I'm going to invite you to take advantage of the people who are going to deliver formula, food, diapers, whatever you need. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to make sure that you're at that place, or I'm going to invite them to your place. I'm going to invite you to the specifics of that. So that is SNP. Are you safe? Is there anything that you need personally or for your business? The invitation and that place. And that is the favor. The SNP is the favor. What is that favor that you need? I do it all the time now for everything in business and personally. What is the favor? I have it down when I invite people to my BNI events. I invite people all the time. My family knows that I'm going to do it. I go to a restaurant. I hear someone say, I just started a business. I'm like, okay, I ear hustle is what my daughter calls it. I ear hustle. Yeah, I just started a business. I'm an esthetician. I do lashes. I ear hustle. I listen, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, so I'm so sorry. I did listen to your conversation. You do lashes. Do you do it full time? They're like, no, I don't do it full time. I'm like, what are you doing to increase your business? I kind of get into it. I'm like, would you like to meet other business professionals, learn a little bit more about being a business professional? They're like, absolutely. And I invite them to take advantage of BNI. I know that they'll need headshots. I know that they'll need to set up their business. I know that they need all of the foundations of starting a business. And I'm like, can I ask a favor? No, it's not money. And then I go on with my thing. Ask a favor. I always preface that it's not money, and I go on with that process. So that's SNP. The next is GRIP. GRIP is, are you looking to grow your business? That's the G. Would referrals help? That's the R. And then invite them to BNI, invite them to your networking event, invite them to know more about your business, invite them to know more about you, and then place, invite them to BNI, invite them to your networking event, invite them to your place of business. GRIP. Invite them. These are all things about you, your business, your organization, your networking event. These are all things to grow you, grow your business, grow your network, all things to be done through GRIP and through SNP. All through the art of reciprocity. You're giving them tools, you're giving them things that they may need, you're giving them advice that they may need, you're giving them tools. It's always the giving in order to receive. Any questions on GRIP or SNP?
I do. Of course I
Yes,
do.
ma'am.
So with the GRIP,
Yes.
when I was looking at Grip, I was thinking, it's actually it's a brilliant method to invite people to your networking opportunity before you even tell them about yourself, because the
Absolutely.
person can find out about you at the event. And so you make it more about them, and then they appreciate you. And also the law of reciprocity graphic that you have was so spot on, because the law of reciprocity isn't about I do something for you, you do something for me. It really is those downstream reciprocities where you do something for Tina, I do something for Tina, and then Deb does something nice for me. Right? That's the law of reciprocity in full
Absolutely.
action.
Absolutely.
All right,
Absolutely.
other questions for Tina?
That's one of my favorite graphics, right? It is the Breck commercial, right? I help Jeff, and so on, and so on, and so on, right? It just continues. It is the mission trip, right? So you go on a mission, and that person, you teach a person to fish, and that person teaches someone else to fish, and so on, and so on, and so on. Any questions, comments, complaints? We'll take them all.
That's good stuff, Tina. What are you kind of basing on? I mean, which scenario are you using? I guess you're using one or the other, right? You're using snip or grip. Or what's kind of your basis for deciding how you're doing that?
So it's your comfortability, actually. I like to give you the red pill or the green pill, whichever is more comfortable to your personality, because there's people who snip is going to really work well for. So I'm a promoter, go-getter. And so those emotionally driven people usually tend to gravitate toward that snip. Are you safe? Is everything okay? How are you feeling? And those business analytical people tend to gravitate toward that grip, because me, I'm the snip girl, but Jeff, I know you, and you're more of the grip guy. So when you're presenting to the grip folks, are you looking to grow your business? Because that's going to be you and Kevin more so than Tina. Like if you say, are you looking to grow your business? I'm like, oh, well, it's really going to depend. But I'm a heartstring girl. So that art of reciprocity and that all of that good stuff and that giver's gain. I'm a Visitor's Day product, right? So when you had me at Giver's Gain, right? You had me at that, the grow your business thing, and I'm like, okay, well, that sounds good too. But yeah, so it depends on those two. I kind of appeal to both sides of those coins. So it really depends on what's your audience, in that side of the world.
Yeah, no, yeah, that makes sense to me, and I think you got. I mean, you kind of having the same flow, right? I mean, you're reaching out saying, basically, how can I help? And then here is something that may help you, right? I mean, in short, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
Because fundamentally, we all want to help people, but also it's the Jerry Maguire, right? It's show me the money. How can I help? And it's how can I help? And here's the money, right?
Okay.
It is.
Well, and some people just don't know what they need, and just you need to, they don't know what they need. They're scared or whatever. They just don't know what they need. They're frustrated, and maybe offering them the suggestion that they weren't even thinking about is exactly what they needed to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to ask that, because there's been many times where I'll say, is there anything I can help you with? And they're like, no, I'm fine. And so I was wondering, how do you extract more from them when they're not fine?
Mm-hmm. So there are two rules of school, two schools of thought. And there's a young lady here who does helps with auto sales. I can't remember which young lady was the auto sales. So there's two schools of clothes, right? Especially in auto sales. There is the people who come to auto sales. They know what car they want. They know what amenities they want, and they already kind of have their minds made up. And then there's the school who know that they need a car, right? There's those two individual groups. There's also people who have need, but they're not sure how to get to that point. Same thing also in senior housing. There's people who really want to age in place and they know that they can't age in place. And so the commonality in those two groups are time. And so there's going to be that group who you say, is there anything that you need? And they are going to say no, and you know that they have that need, give them the time. So they're going to need that time, and give them that time. And it's okay with that process. So go ahead and give them the time. So talk about other things. Table it, so there's seed planting. I have a process in what I call the natural occurring referral. It's another presentation that I do in how to bring me up in normal conversation and refer me, and how not to spoil the referral. And sometimes in our excitement, when we feel that we have a fish on the hook, that we lean in like Hitch too soon, and we spoil the referral for our team members, right? So we get excited and we're like, oh my gosh, it's a referral, and we lean in and they're like, whoa, and we spoil the referral. So I have some team members who are well trained at how to refer me in the referral world. And I say, what are you doing this summer? And if they say that they're replacing the roof, they're doing any landscaping and things like that, then I have another set of questions. For most people, if they say that they're doing those things, they lean in too soon and they spoil a referral. But sometimes you just have to plant the seed. And even though you want to say, hey, I know a realtor named Tina, and if you want to sell your house because you said these things, you plant the seed and you leave it. And sometimes it's the hardest thing to do to leave it because you said all the right things. So sometimes it's plant the seed and you leave it. And that requires time, and it requires patience, and it requires sometimes a 2-month later follow-up. So give them the time that they need and leave it. So time is money. We know that, but you've done all the right things. You planted all the right seeds, and then it requires good follow-up. So
Wendy calls that the law of gestation. I like that law.
Yes, it is. It is. Sometimes
some seeds grow quickly and some take a long time.
Exactly. Exactly. And I have to tell you, one of the best referrals and one of the most lucrative referrals that we had last year in BNI was over $1 million. And it took Don Wheaton 2 years of just watering it and tending to give his financial advisor over $1 million referrals, $1 million referral to his financial advisor. But he just had to, he had to love it. He had to nurture it. He had to kiss it. He had to talk to it. He had to stroke it. But it takes time. It takes time.
Yeah, it does take time. Any other questions for Tina? Shall we workshop something? Let's work. You want to work? You guys have a scenario you want to workshop? That's my favorite part. I could pick on somebody.
Volunteer, voluntold.
I'll go. A lot of times when I'm scrolling on Facebook, I will see an ad for a local business, let's say power washing, right? And so I want to invite them to BNI. So I usually message them and I say, tell me more about your business. And then I usually kind of jump right into that. Would you like to come visit? So yeah, I would love some suggestions on working through that.
Lovely. This is my favorite because I invite from Alignable. That is like my favorite place to invite from, and from Value Pack. It's my pleasure dome. I have to say, it is my place. So I invite a lot from, and I like the cold place. I call it my upside down. It is my thing. So I do a lot of the BNI postcards, right? We have a stack of the old BNI postcards and I still use them. I know it's the old branding and all that, but I hate to waste. I was raised by my grandparents and I don't waste. I'm sorry. I just don't do it. Don't tell the BNI people that I'm still using the old branding, but I'm not throwing away. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. So I send out postcards, but I'm also old school. So I follow up with phone call, right? I mail it 7 days later. I make a telephone call. I find out who the manager is and I do it, right? Send out the card and I do it. And the first question that I ask is, hi, Chad, I sent a postcard about 7 days ago. How are you doing today? Right? I'm snipping in my mind. I'm snipping. Hey, how you doing today? How's everything going over there? How's business? Great. I sent out the postcard because I wanted to see how business was going for you. And I noticed that you sent out or I noticed that you're on Alignable, or I noticed that you're doing whatever. And I just wanted to make sure that you guys are safe and secure over there, right? Because I'm still snipping in my head. Is there anything that you guys need, business or personal, right? Still snipping. How are you guys networking? And I noticed that you use Value Pack or you're doing Alignable. Did you know that only represents about 1% success rate in getting new customers? How are you networking? Are you doing anything chamber? Are you doing anything like that? No, you're not doing anything like that. What if I told you you can increase your reach strategically through networking? What am I selling? I'm not selling anything because I don't have time for that. I don't. I've got 2 kids and 2 Yorkshire terrorists. I don't have time for that. But what if I told you that I can increase your network and increase your net worth for free in 90 minutes? For fun, without pants. No, I'm serious.
I think
I'm
Suzanne's
dead
chapter meets in person, but
Oh, in person. Well, okay. So if you meet in person,
that would work
Really
for
for
my
90
chapter.
minutes. For 90 minutes. And I'm just going to ask you to do me a favor. Would you do it? Would you do it? And I'm just going to ask you for time at dark 30 though. I'm going to ask you to do it at dark 30. Would you do it?
Suzanne, how does that feel?
The
Is it your-
the line about the what if I told you you could blah blah blah, that to me sounds salesy. But
Okay.
the rest of it I like, and I have actually been asked, I actually was asked recently by somebody I reached out to, are you in marketing? And I said, no, I'm a member of the group. I'm a health coach. But
Okay.
I'm inviting you to come visit.
So, power washing, who else in your chapter is in their contact sphere? Who else is in their contact sphere in your chapter?
We don't have anybody yet in that context here.
Then don't call them.
Don't even invite them.
Absolutely not.
We got to start somewhere.
Then someone in their power team. Why would you have somebody come to your chapter to be in a power team of 1?
I'm in a power team of 1.
Then target somebody who you could work with.
Yeah, I have tried. All the
You don't have a chiropractor in your chapter?
Go chiropractor,
You
go
don't-
chiropractor,
I
go
did not get a
somebody who
chiropractor
does
here.
supplements, do
I've asked
Personal
massage
trainer?
therapist,
personal
yeah.
trainer, a
Yeah.
gym, esthetician, massage therapist, a wedding mafia, someone.
Yeah,
Work your team.
wedding planner is a good.
Because the
partner
thing
for me.
is, because we have to let's walk in truth. We got to walk in truth right now. People join BNI to make money. People stay in BNI for the relationships. Do not invite a power washer to set them up for failure.
I
I
don't,
just got to walk. I gotta walk in
I don't
truth.
think they would be. I mean,
Right. But it's going to sound salesy if they're not going to stay. and they're not gonna do it. And Jeff will tell you, I am the most honesty crazy girl, BNI girl out there in the world. And I'm going to walk in truth. Deb will tell you, Jeff will tell you, as their former director, I have to walk in truth on that. Don't invite them. I would not.
Would it make sense if I know somebody in their power circle in another chapter to reach out to them?
I would have them do the work. I want you to do the work. I want you to excel. This is about you today. Yeah, I want you to excel. You ask a question. This is about you today. They're not here. So I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna be real straightforward.
So
I shoot from the
I want to point out that Suzanne is like this master networker. She sent me 5 referrals. 5.
Mm-hmm.
She sent me 5 referrals. So she is.
So that's why I want this to be about. So this is why I want this to be about you, Suzanne. I want you to be the focus. So let's work on your hub, and let's do this for you today, so that you can increase your team in your chapter, so you can be successful today. So let's do the SNP dialogue so it's comfortable for you, so you can increase your chapter size in your contact sphere, so you can make more money, because it's 80-20. 80% of your business is going to come from your chapter in your contact sphere. So I need massage therapist, esthetician.
I'm happy to go back and invite people I've invited before with some new language.
Right. So if that sounds too salesy, what about just asking for a favor? Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you come to support me? Let's pull on heartstrings, because you know what? You're in Optavia, and one of my best friends is an Optavia coach.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pull heartstrings. Let's do it. Can you come to support me on Tuesday at this time, or whatever time your chapter meets, and do SNP? Can you come to support me? I'm asking you to come to support me. I would like you to listen to Tiffany Kellogg's How to Invite to Your Feature presentation. Try to get in the next 6 weeks and do the things that you need to do your feature presentation in the next 6 weeks, and do everything that she says to invite to your feature presentation, please.
Is that, where do I
just put the link in the chat.
Oh, very good.
I have it up because I needed to listen to it.
Thank you.
I also put links in the chat to a couple of 3 tools that you will find very helpful, Suzanne.
And then I want you to invite everybody that you can. I want you to invite all of what I call the people who have all of the soft skills. I want the massage therapists. I want the estheticians. I want the videographers. I want the photographers. I want your whole wedding mafia. I want all of them. I want those people, and I want you to invite them. Will you come to support me as I do my feature presentation? I want you to title your feature presentation. I want you to do something soft in your feature presentation. I want your feature presentation to be something like, I want you to title it something like, right now, this week has been in my head. My motto for 2023 has been, it's all about me in 2023, and guard my peace. That's been my motto this year, right? So I want it to be something soft and fuzzy like that for your feature presentation. Title it something like that, right? Title it something about my inner beauty, my inner me, something like that, so that you can invite, please come to support me when I do my feature presentation, the inner me, or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And get as many people as you can. I usually have about 10 people in my presentations when I do them, right? I'm doing a presentation on Sunday at a church that's called Know Your Children Don't Want Your Shh, right? It's a senior presentation. So these people who are going to the senior living know your kids don't want all your stuff, right? They don't. So get rid of it now, because they don't want it. But yeah, do something like that. And I think that Suzanne will do more for you than my salesy SNP. And then you still can practice SNP with favor inviting, right?
Okay.
I think that'll be more.
Don't forget
truly you.
ask for your weekly ask the week before you do your presentation. In your 60-second ask, say, next week is my weekly presentation, and I would love it if you would invite your favorite hairdresser, your favorite makeup artist, your favorite wedding planner.
You know what? In Tiffany's thing, she tells you when to do all of your presentations and do all of that stuff too.
Oh, I definitely
Yeah.
need to listen to it.
Mhm.
All right, so we
Yep.
need to wrap up.
No problem.
Thank you to Tina. Everybody clap for Tina. Yay! That was really good.